Howdy folks, this is Jared with Fluty Homestead, and today I thought I'd give you a little tour of the garden and show you how things are growing, and I think you'll be surprised how big things have got. And you notice today it's hot here. Lord, it's hotter than Hades outside. It's about 90 degrees in the shade and humid, so I had to lay off my overalls and get my sun hat and put on my short-legged breeches. So we're going to go out here now the shade's over and show you the garden, how it's growing. Okay, here we are behind the barn at this little hillside garden, and if you remember, this is our first year gardening here. And where these potatoes are was our chicken coop last year, and the chicken coop was getting moved. And man, these potatoes have really done good. They're starting to get little buds on them to bloom. Let's see, yeah, there's little bloom buds right here in this one. And knock on wood, I have not had no bug trouble this year so far. I'll say that, and tomorrow I'll come out here and there'll be stubs, but I've seen a few little ants, but they ain't hurt nothing. And the beautiful plants, they're about over knee high, and I've healed them up some. I need to throw a little more on them, looks like. And really done good up here. We're gonna go on out through here, and this is our corn. I planted this corn in March. Been frosted on 3 times, and it's still a growing. Needs I need to come in here and hoe in here now. We had some rain last few days, so I hadn't been able to get out here like I wanted to. But you can see this is pretty corn. This is Honey Select, and it's about 1 foot tall. And right here beside of it, you can't hardly see him right now. I planted, after the corn got up about 6 inches, this is an old-fashioned goose bean. It's a brown bean. This is my first year growing these. I bought these seeds at the Appalachian Seed Swap a few years ago off an old man, and we're excited to try these. But the corn is doing really good. I can replant in a few places. It's kind of thin. But overall, 2 good little rows of corn here. We'll go down here between the corn rows, and I'll show you my candy onions. I've already put nitrogen on this corn. It did need a little nitrogen out here on this end. The candy onion is looking really good. They need weeded too. Had it all looking good, and we had a week straight of rain. And then it was a little muddy, so I've stayed out of it. But it's dry enough now. If it'll stay dry, I can get in here and work. But I'm just going to show you. They're making the little heads ain't real big yet, but their tops is what, you got to have good tops to make bulbs. Some of them's got heads about the size of a quarter, and some of them don't. But they're looking really good. I got to get these weeds out of them. All right, the most proud thing I am out here is these cabbages. I've got 32 cabbages in this garden. And if you notice, I don't know what it is about the ground right here. This all had horse manure on it, and I just barely put a little fertilizer when I plowed it. But these 2 little rows of cabbage is outgrew the far end up here 3 to 1. If you see right here, that's a bushel basket. And them cabbages is big as the plants are bigger than a bushel basket. These are Bravo cabbage. They're starting to make little heads. And this one's heading up some. And knock on wood, I have not had 1 bug on these. Not 1. And normally I fight to keep the bugs off cabbage and potatoes both. But if you can see here, I have not seen 1 bug hole in these yet. Like I said, I'll brag on these today, and tomorrow the cutworms will be having a party out here. But right there's a bushel basket next to them. And that tells you about how, if you've got any bushel baskets around, that'll tell you about how big my cabbage plants are right now. You couldn't fit that bushel basket over the plants, so if they make all good heads, we should have a bumper load of kraut and chow chow this year, and fried cabbage. I love it fried. And as you can see here, these are beautiful plants, but they're just not near as big as these others. We'll take our basket over here and I'll show you. You see how big this one is next to a bushel basket? We'll set him down over here. Planted the same day. You can see here they ain't near as big. They're beautiful plants, but they're just not near as big as the other. But this garden has really surprised me how good it's doing. Never grew anything out here but grass and horse weeds. And right here, let's see if you can see it. I planted some little hills of butternut squash. And I'm going to let them take the bottom bank here below the garden. And they're just now coming up out of the ground. But I think they'll do well. Everything's doing good here so far. Alright, we'll walk back up here around the house and I'll show you what else we got it growing. Okay, I'm right down here by my barn, and this is a little bed I made just for kind of an experiment. And these old logs is just 2 old logs that I had laying here, and just to help me give it a little border. It ain't a raised bed or anything. But these are early girl tomatoes I planted, and I took post hole diggers and dug a big hole in this old hard clay and put some good manure and potting soil, old manure and potting soil in here. And they're just now starting to grow good. They was pretty small when I planted them. And had these jars here because they got frosted twice. And these here are starting to take off a little. That and there's about 5 or 6 inches tall. And just thought I'd try them down here, give me a little more space. And that's 6 more tomato plants. And while I got you here, I'll show you. Right down here is our new beehive. My grandpa wanted a swarm of bees, so he bought the bees, and I'm kind of taking care of them up here. So we're excited to have some bees back on the farm. And Benji's trying to hold something up here. Hope it ain't a big copperhead. He chases squirrels and ground squirrels and field mice all over this place. He's a little mixed up fast, but he's a tree dog. He's treed several squirrels now. But we'll go up here to the next garden. I just want to show you this little tomato bed, and we'll go see what else we got to grow. Okay, we're up here in the little raised bed kitchen garden, and here's Lakin's. This is Lakin's little garden. Here's her kale. We've been eating off this kale a lot and put it in the freezer, and it's ready to pick again. There's a good mess on here. She'll probably get that this week and put her in the freezer. And her spinach is doing good. We've been eating out of it. And over here, these need weeded too. These are more candy onions. And that was butterhead lettuce. And all of it's ready to eat. I'm getting a little too big. And these are just green onions. We eat them with our dinner. And this lettuce here is a romaine lettuce. And I've cut a bunch of it, and it is getting huge. And it makes the best salad you ever stuck in your mouth. And these here, these funny looking ones, I just cut them off and left the plant. And it's getting new growth on it. So I'm hoping that it'll be as good as the other head was. But trying to get a second crop out of it if it will. And all this needs harvested. It's getting huge. That's just some more old black-seeded Simpson lettuce. And it's pretty good though. We kill it with bacon grease. And around this way, we've got our cauliflower. And it is doing good. It's about knee high. And it's starting to make little heads in the bottom. And here we got broccoli. It's looking beautiful. Starting to crown. So everything in the beds have done really good this year too. This one little small fry ain't done too hot, but he's a trying to grow. Okay, here's another little bed I made here behind the kids' trampoline. And I just put some, tilled this up with the tiller, because it's pretty soft, pretty good ground here. And I tilled it up and put plastic down. And I've got 8 flat Dutch cabbages right here that I just got here recently, and they're taking off now. So this will be my late cabbage. And then this is German Johnson tomatoes and mortgage lifter tomatoes. And they're coming out of it really good. They were really small when I planted them. And here's 2 little cucumbers. These are a bush crop. I've never grew them, but we're gonna give them a try. And they look kind of pitiful when I planted them, but they're making new little leaves here. I think they're gonna come out of it. So hopefully this little bed will do good. We just tried to make a couple more spaces than what we had last year, trying to grow a little more, because this year I've learned that you never know what's going to happen in this world, and it don't hurt to have a little extra prepared. So we'll go to the big garden now and check her out. Okay, up here on the hill, these first 2 rows that has already got the fence up, these are rattlesnake pole beans, and they are just now getting ready to vine. And I need to get up here and hoe them now that's dried up. These next 3 rows, they ain't been up but a few days. These are my greasy beans. We got 3 rows of greasy beans. This next row here is a half a row of, these are a burpy bush bean. A little brown bush bean I'm gonna try. My grandpa gave me some seeds of these and I ain't never grew them. On down, we've got the rest of this row is 8 hills of just now coming up. These are zucchini and yellow squash. Gotta have some squash and zucchini. And then over here, I put down plastic this year. Had good luck with stuff on plastic last year. Tomatoes done really good on it. These are our rest of our tomatoes. I think we got about 40 or 50 altogether. But there's all different kinds here. We've got Cherokee purple, big rainbow, Belgian pink, something else. Then these little peppers here, they are, these are I think the sweet banana. And then these 2 on the end, or on the other end, one. I have to look at the tag. These are a habanero, and these were sent to me by a subscriber to try the seeds. Leo, so if you're watching, Leo, I appreciate the seeds. And these tomatoes, they're about 6 inches tall. They was all pretty small when we planted them, but they're doing really good now. Right here is 3 little hills. They're about 2-3 inches tall. These are okra. Then over here we have our hot banana peppers. And these sticks, I'm going to be driving in here beside these cages. I just laid me a few out here so I can drive them in. Got to get that done now. And then I have 2 little hills, one here and one over here behind me. These are a Hale's Best cantaloupe, and I put them on the plastic. They do good on plastic. And everything seems to be doing good so far. We've had crazy weather though. It's rained and we went through a real bad cold spell. So everything now is just now starting to really start to grow good. This little ugly bed here with some beets, and they're starting to come out of it, so I think they'll make it. But that's all I got up here, and now I'll show you the big potato patch. Okay, we're down in the bottom of the holler now, and we're in the other potato patch. And these potatoes are real big. They're about hip high. And there's just now I see a few little bugs down here in the bottom of the holler. There's a ladybug or 2 and a few little bug bites, but I ain't seen no potato bugs yet. And there's 3 rows here, and 2 of the rows is probably, I don't know, 60 feet, and one of them is about 70 feet. So we planted a little over 100 pounds, so it should be a pretty good crop of potatoes. It's a lot wetter down here in the bottom of the holler than it is up on the hill. Thought I seen a potato bug, but that's just a little bud off a tree. And over here, there's 2 rows of corn right here that's about 60 feet long. And I'm just got to get in here and till it and hoe it up good now that it's up. It's about 2 to 3 inches tall. So I'll get in here and till this up now that it's drying up. And then up in here, there's about 5 hills of pumpkins. And I'll just let them grow in the bottom of our corn. But looks like potatoes are going to do really good this year. If there's as many potatoes on them as there is pretty vines, should do really nice. Right here, this is must be a poor spot. I need to put some more manure this year. These ain't near as big, but the rest of them is really nice. And they go all the way up here to where my 4-wheeler is sitting. You can't even see the 4-wheeler for the potatoes. But doing really good. Okay, that's about all we got for the day. I just wanted to show y'all how the garden was doing. I've had a lot of people asking about it, and I appreciate y'all watching, and I hope y'all garden is doing good. Make sure you like and subscribe. Hope y'all have a very blessed day.